Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Innal hamdalillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udzu billahi min syururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina may yahdihillahu fala mudhillalah wa may yudlil fala hadiyalah wa asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la syarikalah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan 'abduhu wa rasuluh. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, we praise Him, we seek His help, we seek His forgiveness, and we seek the protection of Allah from the evils in our hearts and from the evil things that we might be tempted to do. He whom Allah has He whom Allah has guided, none of us can lead him astray. But he whom Allah has led astray, none of us can lead him back to the right path. I bear witness that none has right to be worshipped but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has no partners, and I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his slave and his messenger. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. O you truly believe of taqwa to Allah as is his due, and do not die except in the state of Islam, which is a state of complete submission and surrender to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. O man can have taqwa to Allah, who has created you from a single soul, that is Adam, peace be upon him. And from him Allah has created his wife, that is Eve, peace be upon her. And from both of them Allah has dispersed into many men and women. And have taqwa to Allah, in which you're using his name, you have made many requests and demands for one another, and maintain the bonds of kinship. Indeed, Allah is ever over you an observer. O you truly believe of taqwa to Allah, and speak always the truth. If you do so, Allah will direct you to do good righteous deeds, and He will forgive of your sins. And whosoever obey Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would have achieved a great achievement, that is by being admitted into paradise. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. To proceed on, the best of the speech is the speech of Allah, which is in the Quran. The best guidance is the guidance of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The worst thing in Islam is the introductions of new elements in faith, and every newly invented method is an innovation. Every innovation is a misguidance, and every misguidance will lead us to hellfire. As-salatu wassalamu ala khatamil anbiya'i mursalin Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And greetings of peace and blessings go to our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is the last and final of all the prophets of Allah. Alhamdulillah, it's a very beautiful day in London today. Temperature about 15 degrees Celsius. The sun or the light is shining onto my face. Alhamdulillah. But this is with Allah's will that most of us, if not all, we are supposed to stay at home, isn't it true? Right? Because we are supposed to isolate ourselves, right? Not to be in the public domain, right? This is Allah's, the qadar of Allah that we have to endure, right? As believers, yeah, we need to know the how to protect ourselves and family members in the house, especially those of you who has family members who are old, elderly in the house, right? So you need to protect yourself. And wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Those of you who are greeting me, and to everybody in the site here, this is our new site, inshallah, for Saturdays. I think, hopefully, inshallah, this is better, so that we don't hear people coming in. We don't hear people with their children and all this, right? We just focus ourselves, inshallah, on the talk which I'm going to give you today, inshallah. So this is something in which, brothers and sisters in Islam, right? This is our platform for communications on our Saturdays about 2 o'clock, inshallah, right? In which we are going to prepare for Ramadan from now on, alhamdulillah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow all of us to meet the month of Ramadan. Allahumma balighna Ramadan, which means, may Allah allow all of us to meet the month of Ramadan. Yeah? Now, so this is something in which you and I, every year we look forward to Ramadan, isn't it true? Right? But every year, subhanAllah, brothers, sisters in Islam, and to be frank, right? If everybody, right? If everybody prepared well, seek knowledge, if everybody is trying to prevent ourselves from making mistakes in Ramadan. Because how is our Ramadan actually, how do you know that it is accepted, inshallah? Right? Welcome, salam alaikum to everybody who just joined us. Yeah, how do you know our Ramadan is accepted? Anybody? You can just type in, right? What happened? Because, like it or not, right? There are about 1.7 billion Muslims in the world, right? If everybody strives hard, if everybody would um, try to obey Allah, right? The whole world, especially the Muslim world, is supposed to be a better place, isn't it true? Right? But like it or not, I'm very honest with you as always that the whole Muslim world is falling apart, isn't it true? Do you agree? Right? And this, subhanAllah, this coronavirus Allah sent us is a reminder to you and I, right? Yes, it's a qadar of Allah, but we must have done something in which, subhanAllah, and I'm very sad, of course, and I'm sure you are sad, that Allah at this moment do not allow you and I to go to the mosque, isn't it true? Right? Something must we have done something. It's like, for example, and I'm just saying example, it's not from any scholars or any hadith, right? It's like when Zamzam water, right? It was, as you know, it came in the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam, when Hajar and Ismail were left in the middle of the desert, right? And it flowed and flowed and flowed and flowed, and suddenly, yeah, it stopped. Right? Perhaps we know it stopped because people are all worshipping idols and all this, right? It was because of, alhamdulillah, yeah, from the Prophet's Prophet's uncle Abdul Muttalib. He had a dream in all this, and it came up again till today, subhanallah, right? So perhaps there are things that you and I all have been doing, right? The Muslim Ummah, right? Allah is not pleased with. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, those who joined us. And this is something in which we need to look into ourselves, right? Perhaps this year, inshallah, it is, as we discussed last week, right? This is something in which you and I, yeah, as a family and all this, right? It will be a different Ramadan as we discussed last week. It will be very different, right? But Ramadan is still Ramadan, right? And this is something in which, like it or not, right? Inshallah, Allah will allow us to live to see the month of Ramadan. Because if we were not to live into Ramadan, it is such a waste, right? Because a lot of blessings in this great month of Ramadan, right? So you can see, inshallah, right, how we will face this month of Ramadan, which will be very different as we talked about last week, right? And the signs of how our Ramadan is accepted is about, in general, is about taqwa, isn't it true, right? You would have listened or read um, in your YouTubes or in Facebook about the common verse that you always hear, right? If you look in Surah number 2, I hope you have a Quran beside you, 2 verse number 183. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. Oh, you believe, right? Ibn Mas'ud said when when the verse Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu was, if you listen to any of these verses, you need to pay attention, because what comes after this is a command of Allah, something in which there is something in which we need to listen very carefully, right? Allah said in the meaning, yeah, fasting has been revealed to you or prescribed to you as it was prescribed to those who were before you, so that the purpose is so that it will cause you and I to achieve taqwa. Surah number 2, verse number 183. Isn't it true? Right? In which the purpose of this whole month of Ramadan, it is to achieve the state of God consciousness. That means after Ramadan, inshallah, you and I are supposed to be, in a way, more closer to Allah. Isn't it true? Right? We leave behind everything that we are supposed that we have done, the mistakes in all this, right? Our bad habits, right? In terms of wasting time, right? Some of us may be talking about others a lot, right? Some of us cannot control their eyes and all this. Yeah, some of us are doing things which may be displeasing to Allah, right? So in this great month, inshallah, in the month of Ramadan, if we are able to achieve it or meet the month of Ramadan, and we are able to, inshallah, to fulfill all the obligations and do all the things that we're supposed to do, inshallah, we are supposed to achieve at the end of the month of Ramadan, inshallah, the state of God consciousness, isn't it true? About ability to understand or to fear Allah so much that you are always trying to do your best to prevent yourselves from disobeying Him. At the same time that you love Allah so much that you always want to prevent to tell yourself, right, that you all must always obey His command at all times. So something in which this is where you can see at the end of Ramadan, sadly, you and I can see, right? Especially for the brothers in the mosque, right? The minute Ramadan ends, what happened in the mosque? Brothers, what happened in the mosque the minute the Ramadan ends? It becomes quite empty, isn't it true? Right? You will know, right? Subhanallah, especially last 10 days of Ramadan, alhamdulillah, with Allah's guidance, many people are going to the mosque in great numbers. Immediately when it's announced tomorrow is going to be Eid, right? Immediately after that, right, you can see that the mosque numbers dip down very drastically. And subhanallah, this is not a good sign, isn't it true? Right? It happens year after year. Of course, we cannot be in the same state of worship in the month of Ramadan, right? Of course, we cannot be continuously, you know, fasting, right, every day, and then at night going for the Taraweeh prayer in the mosque. Yeah, it is impossible. And of course, we know that Shaitan is being locked up, isn't it true? Allah, with His mercy, in the authentic hadith, caused the Shaitan to be locked up, right, in hellfire and all this. So something in which you and I have to understand also in the month of Ramadan, somehow or other we are given this amazing power and energy to worship Allah, isn't it true? Right? But somehow or other, we know, of course, after Ramadan, our iman and our extra worship will go down, right? But it shouldn't be in that level that some people are even committing sins immediately, yep, when Ramadan ends, right? So something in which we were going to go through, inshallah, the um, major mistakes to avoid. But inshallah, this Ramadan, I'm so hopeful, right? And we talked about that we have to trust Allah with the situation we are in now. Allah is the best of planner, right? There are a lot of things to prepare, especially for the brothers, right? You are going to be imam later, inshallah, in your house, isn't it true, brothers? Right? You are going to be the ones who will lead the Taraweeh prayer if the mosques are still closed. Yeah, you are the one, inshallah, who are going to lead the witr prayer and do the qunut dua. Isn't it true? The qunut dua, the witr prayer, which you and I always listen to when we pray in the mosque. Yeah, you and I, inshallah, for the brothers, we are going to be the one to have, we have to memorize certain dua. Isn't it true? Welcome, salam, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So this is something in which a lot of preparations need to be made this year, especially because we may be on a different Ramadan than previous years if the malls are still closed and all this, right? Or we are still instructed, yeah, to stay in the house. Okay, now, so as I said before, right, while still waiting for a few people to join, inshallah. Now, so in this Ramadan, yeah, please be very optimistic. Please be very hopeful, right? And trust that Allah, no matter what happened, even though the mosques are closed, is going to be our best Ramadan, inshallah, right? It is going to be the best of Ramadan, right? As I said before, perhaps, right, maybe all of us are locked up with our own families in the house. Yeah, we're encouraging each other. Sometimes our family members may not be practicing. Sometimes our parents, yeah, maybe not practicing, right? But because we are in the house together, we got no choice, inshallah, but to inshallah to enjoy and good forbid evil. Right? Remember what Allah said in the Quran. Wal takum minkum ummatun yad'una ilal khair wa ya'muruna bil ma'ruf wa yanhauna 'anil munkar wa ulaika humul muflihun. Right? Let there be among you a group of people inviting to all that is good, enjoining what is right, and forbidding what is evil, and it is they who are the successful. Turn to Surah number 3, verse number 104. Right? That this is something in which you and I should try to encourage one another, especially our family members. Hate to say this, right? You know that we are not supposed to invite others to our house, isn't it true? And we should maintain this principle, right? So do not invite your uncles, aunties to your house like we did in the previous years, yeah, because we need to contain within our own families, right? So we don't infect each other, right? This is very important. Okay. Now, so while waiting for others still, let us revise again as what I did with the brothers on Thursdays, right? So do remember about the few dua that we are supposed to say, inshallah, to protect ourselves. The most important thing that we have gone through is Allahumma inni as'alukal afiyah. Afiyah means everything that prevents or protects a person from any trials and tribulation. So if a person was given wealth, he was given afiyah. If a person is healthy, he or she is given afiyah. So Allahumma inni as'aluka al-afiyah, right? The next one is a dua to protect ourselves from all these major illnesses. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika minal barasi wal jununi wal juthami wa sayyi'il asqam, right? Which means, oh Allah, I seek your refuge from you from leprosy, from mental illness, from mutilations, and from all the major illnesses or diseases, right? We also know the dua or the dhikr in which we should say in the morning and evening, right? If you say this 3 times in the morning, you will be protected, inshallah, from sudden calamities, right? Allahumma bismillahilladzi la yadurru ma'asmihi shay'un fil ardi wala fis sama' wa huwa samiul alim. In the name of Allah, right? In the name of Allah, in which whose names that nothing in the heavens and the earth are able to harm us, and you are the all hearer, the all knower, right? So this you should say in the morning and the evening. Now, with the brothers also, on Thursday I did mention, okay, the brothers don't say this, right? The dua of Prophet Ayub alayhi salam, in which when he said this dua, yeah, Allah brings back everything back to him, right? So you know Ayub alayhi salam, he lost his wealth, he lost his family, right? He lost his own health, right? On the basis of the dua that he made with sincerity, right? He was Allah returned back to him, except in some narrations, the family members, right? In which there was a narrator who said that Allah asked him, do you want me to return your family? The family now is in Jannah. That's what they said. Yeah, Allah said to Ayub alayhi salam, do you want me to restore them to you now, or you want them to be in Jannah and we will replace you with other family members? So Ayub alayhi salam answered, well, subhanallah, he said, even though he's very sad, let them remain in Jannah, right? And replace me with other family members, right? Now, which surah is this? I know we are in on Google channel, but no need to Google. Which surah is this? Sisters, dua of Prophet Ayub alayhi salam. Anni massan yadurru wa anta arhamur rahimin. Isn't it true? Okay. If you turn to surah number 21, verse number 83. Okay, let me correct myself. I may be wrong. Okay, in the middle part, Anni mas yaduru anta arhamur rahimin. Yeah, which means distress has seized me, right? Distress has seized me, and you are the most merciful of those who show mercy. Yeah, when he made this dua, subhanallah, Allah returned back his wealth, right? How did Allah return his wealth? Return back his wealth? Anybody? How did Allah return back his wealth? The sisters, sorry, not the brothers. What kind of gold? Allah gave him a lot of golden locust, right? Locust. So he was, the golden locusts were flying, and he caught this, caught that, and put this in his pocket and all this. So all his wealth are given back, right? And not only that, right? Allah asked, "Is my mercy enough?" Right? And he answered, alayhi salam, Ayub alayhi salam said, Ya Allah, how can I be satisfied with your mercy? Right? So everything was restored back to him, alhamdulillah. Okay, so something in which we can say it, yeah. Anni masaniyal durru wa anta arhamur rahimin. Okay, this was in surah number 21, in verse number 83. Okay, Ayub alayhi salam. Right. We also talked about the dua of Yunus alayhi salam. La ilaha illa anta, la ilaha illa anta, subhanaka inni kuntu minal zalimin. Yeah, which means none has the right to worship but you. None has the right to be worshipped but you. Yeah, glorified are you. Verily, I have been the wrongdoer. Right? Which surah is this? Just next to it, isn't it true? 21:87. Right? Dua of Yunus alayhi salam, in which, as you know, when he made this dua, the angels went up to Allah and asked Allah, right, aren't you going to answer the dua of your righteous slave, right? And as you know, with this dua and all this, Allah know that he was sincerely repenting for what he did, and then Allah saved him, yeah, from the belly of the whale. Okay. So we have gone through this before, right? And of course, the dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam, Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. Right? Allah alone is sufficient for me. He is the best disposer of our affairs. Okay. Last one. You know this. Rabbana atina min ladunka rahmatan wa hayyi' lana min amrina rashada. Which surah is this? Rabbana atina min ladunka rahmatan wa hayyi' lana min amrina rashada. You should know this. Brothers, sisters, I'm waiting. Which surah is this? Al-Kahf, good. In verse number? It's one of the things in which, verse number 10, isn't it true? One of the verses in which we should memorize, inshallah, to protect us from the Dajjal, right? So, let's look in surah number 18, in verse number 10, right? In which, who said this? These are who said this dua? This is a dua said by the people of the cave, isn't it true? Right? In which they said, Our Lord, bestow on us mercy from yourself and facilitate for us our affair in the right way. Right? As you know, right, they were separated from the family, or they ran away from the families and all this, right? They hid in a cave. And subhanAllah, they did this just in order to worship Allah, right? Because they may be prevented to worship Allah in the best way. People were all worshiping idols, and they asked Allah to help them. Now, brothers, sisters, we are in the same situation, right? Mosques are closed, right? It seems that everything is against us. Ramadan is coming, right? There's no imams to lead us in the Taraweeh prayer in the mosque, right? I mean, perhaps it's because of the things that we did, right? But we are always hopeful that Allah will bring us out of these difficulties in the best way, right? And this is from Allah, right? Yes, you always remember, we talked before. Yes, you might be clapping on the Thursdays, and for all these people, people are saying that don't worry, the vaccine is coming, right? Donald Trump is always saying in all this, but always remember, the one who will bring us out of this difficulty is Allah, Yes, we need to tie the camel, right? We need to come up with all this vaccine, inshallah. You and I, we are at home, right? Isolating ourselves, right? Lockdown. But we have to understand that it is Allah who will protect us, not anyone else. Okay? So these are the things in which you should try to memorize, inshallah, the dua, the various dua, that to protect ourselves, yeah, from the situations that we are in, and asking Allah to facilitate our affair, yeah, in the best of way in which only He, Subhanallah, yeah, Subhanahu wa Taala, only He's the one that who will be the has the final say or the final determination of how we are going to end, yeah, these tragedies or these calamities. Okay, now um, another thing that we have to understand, right? Any trials that befall upon us, okay, it is all, inshallah, right, to remove our sins. And for those people, right, the brothers and sisters who are suffering, yeah, or who have been suffering from the coronavirus infection, may Allah give you shifa. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you patience, yeah, and a quick recovery. Right? In the hadith from Tirmidhi, Sahih by Albani, narrated by Abu Hurairah anhu, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right, said, trials will continue to befall the believing men and women with regard to themselves, their children, and their wealth, until they meet Allah with no sin on them. Right? I repeat again, trials will continue to befall the believing men and women with regard to themselves, their children, and their wealth until they meet Allah with no sin on them. So it is a win-win situation, even though at that moment you think that, oh, I don't understand why this is happening. Right? Remember how Allah gave us example of Al-Khidir and Musa alayhi salam. Musa didn't understand at all why he did this. Isn't it true? Right? Musa didn't understand. Yeah, Musa alayhi salam didn't understand. Yeah, but in the end, Al Khidir, he did this because Allah was one who commanded him to do that. There is always a wisdom from Allah. Okay. Now, so this is something in which, as I said before, right? This is just to wait for the rest to come to join us, inshallah, right? A reminder of you and I about these calamities that are befalling upon all of us, right? That we have to be patient, we have to trust Allah, right? And we also must understand this important verse, right? Inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. Where did Allah say this? That Allah will not change the conditions of the people if they don't change the conditions themselves. Which surah, brothers, sisters? Inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. Surah number 13, yes, verse number 11, isn't it true? Right? 13, verse number 11. Let's go through it, inshallah. Right? So 13, verse number 11, right? In the middle part. Correct? I'm just checking it whether it is the correct surah. It should be, inshallah. Okay. So yes, yeah, it is in the middle part, right? So it's something in which, brothers and sisters in Islam, if you are not the one who change yourselves and myself, right? Allah will always bring about all these calamities. Yeah, perhaps to remind you and I, right? And another thing for us to remember, brothers and sisters, is this important verse, right? In which we have done it a few times, right? Turn to Surah number 57, verse number 16. 57:16, in which in the meaning, has not the time come for the hearts of those who believe to be affected by Allah's reminder, right? Now Ramadan is coming, inshallah. It is the month in which Quran was revealed, right? We have been reading Quran again and again and again and again and again and again, but none of us are changing, right? Allah is asking us, isn't it the time for us, you and I, to be affected by this Quran, right? It is Quran, as you know, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. This is the book, there's no doubt, a guidance for those who are who with taqwa, the muttaqin, yeah, the one who continuously, yeah, have this consciousness of Allah, right? So Allah addressing us, right? Aren't we going to be affected by this Quran now, right? If not now, when are you going to be affected, right? And it goes continue like this, right? And that which has been revealed to the truth, right? So the Quran, it has been revealed of the truth. Like this is the words of Allah in which you and I are always trying to remind ourselves and to get guided how to do this, how to do that, right? Because Allah reminded us, lest they come to as those who received the scriptures before, and the term was prolonged for them, and so their hearts were hardened, and many of them were fasiqun. Yeah. So Christians and the Jews in this previous nation, right? The children of Israel, they were given the books, isn't it true? Torah and Injil. But they keep on changing the books and did not follow what Allah has informed them in the books, right? And as a consequence, Allah said the hearts were hardened, right? So one of the topics, inshallah, we're going to go through is the how to purify our hearts, right? So when the hearts were hardened, then you are not able to receive any of Allah's guidance, right? So something in which you and I, we should, inshallah, if you have not done today, yeah, after today, right, look at the Quran carefully, right? Make sure you understand it, make sure you apply it, inshallah, and make sure, right, every time you read the Quran, take your time. There's no price for those who can complete the Quran in 7 days or in 2 weeks or in 1 month, right? It's up to you and I to try to finish as much as possible with clear understanding and inshallah with proper implementation of the Quran. Okay. Now, so let us go through now. What are the mistakes that people commonly do in Ramadan, right? So let's go through about the mistakes that people do before Ramadan, right? Remember, I think the major mistake is about that people fail to prepare for Ramadan. Remember the famous saying, right? That if you fail to prepare, then you need to prepare to fail. If you fail to prepare, then you prepare to fail, right? Something in which you and I, we need to understand that we need to take this Ramadan, inshallah, if we are allowed to meet it, of course, if you're allowed to meet this Ramadan, that we need to take it seriously. We need to make sure that this may be our last Ramadan, right? So cling on to it, right? Remember the hadith, I think was it by Talha Ubaidullah, in which he knew of these two people, right, who took shahada at the same time. I think we discussed last week, right, that the one person was striving very hard, right, and he died as a martyr, and the other person was he didn't die as a martyr, but he was able to live until another Ramadan, and he had a dream, right, and in the dream, right, he saw the person that died not as a martyr entered Jannah earlier than the person who died as a martyr, right? So it clearly shows, right, that one Ramadan, subhanAllah, can change everything. This is a game changer, inshallah, right? This Ramadan. So don't let these issues of coronavirus and all this affect our Ramadan. It will be, inshallah, our best Ramadan, right? And trust Allah, right? But we need to prevent ourselves, brothers, sisters, from committing mistakes that people are doing, right? So as I said before, the first mistake is pre-Ramadan, that a lot of people are not preparing for Ramadan, right? For example, the first thing is about seeking knowledge, right? People are not seeking knowledge about Ramadan, how to make this Ramadan better, right? What are the things that may nullify your fasting, how to improve your khushu in the prayer. So all these kind of things are preparations for Ramadan, right? the rules of sahur, right? Whether you should take sahur or not, right? So all these are the things in which we should seek knowledge. Whether we know it or not, sometimes it's quite good to remind ourselves, isn't it true, about this Ramadan, right? Every year, right? We should go and prepare, seek knowledge, and remind ourselves what is it. What is a du'a, for example? What is the du'a of Laylatul Qadr? Sisters, brothers, Laylatul Qadr. What the last 10 days of Ramadan? Have we memorized the du'a? Allahumma innaka afuwun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni or fa'fu anna. Right? Oh Allah, you are the one who forgives. You love to forgive, so forgive me. Right? And we discussed before the word al-afu. What is the difference between al-afu and all the other names of Allah? Allah deliberately used his name al-afu, not ar-Rahman, not ar-Rahim, not al-Ghafar, yeah, not at-Tawwab, al-afu. Yeah, what is the difference of al-afu compared to all of his other names? Yes, so we talked before that al-afu means to erase, yeah, all the sins that we have. So the angels on our left are always writing our bad deeds, right? Like it or not, we are humans, right? We will commit sins, right? Al-afu, yeah, would ensure that the records are erased. And this is quite important, right? So all these kind of things, right? We need to memorize and to remind ourselves, Allahumma innaka afu tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Right? There are a few various variations of this dua, right? But this is for me personally is the most authentic ones. Okay. Now the second thing that we need to prepare, which people are not doing, all right? So now the topic for today is a common mistakes, right? So the first mistake that people are doing is this pre-Ramadan preparations. We are not doing. We need to correct all our deeds, isn't it true? Right? For example, our prayer, right? We discussed before, right? Brothers, especially. This year, you may be the imam of the prayer, of the Taraweeh prayer at home. Is it true? Brothers, right? You are supposed to be leading the prayer. Isn't it true, inshallah? Right? In your own house, right? Therefore, you should use, we have until, is it, I think maybe about 3 weeks now, isn't it true? Before Ramadan, right? We need to increase our memorization of the Quran. I mean, come on, right? From so many years until now, don't tell me you only memorize Qul Huwallah, Al-Falaq, An-Nas, Idha Ja, and all this, right? We need to memorize more surah. Isn't it true, inshallah? Right? So we need to correct all our deeds also in terms of like our khushu', right? If we know that you can't have khushu', perhaps you need to know the meaning of the verse that you are reciting. Perhaps, right, you need to make sure that nothing was distracting you in your prayer and all this. Yeah, perhaps, right, you make sure that especially when you are standing in the jama'ah, right, there's no gaps. You know, when you have gaps in between, right, shaitan will go into you and all this. So many things that we need to correct, inshallah. Right, those who are struggling with your mouth, hate to say this, we're going to talk about it later, right? What do I mean by this? Always talking about others, always busy lying, always doing many things, right? We need to prepare ourselves and cut it now, isn't it true? Because it becomes a bad habit that it's difficult to correct. Okay, so this is something in which we need to correct all our deeds, yeah, our good manners, yeah, the way we do dhikr, right? We're gonna go through, I think, if we have time, inshallah, if not pre-Ramadan, during Ramadan, inshallah, like when you make dua, right, you need to understand, yeah, if I know, because some people are not seeking knowledge, right? So you just, when you make dua, you say Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah, but it's good, but you need to make this, there's an etiquette to say before your dua, isn't it true? So for example, what is the etiquette before your dua that you need to do, inshallah? First of all, glorify him. Yeah, you can say Bismillah, you can say Alhamdulillah, you can say Subhanallah, you can say La ilaha illallah, and all this, right? Then you need to send blessings of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Isn't it true? Ya Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Yeah, and all this. Yeah, and then you need to don't face the qibla first, right? Because this is the important etiquette. Qibla, alhamdulillah, is good. If you don't face the qibla, dua is still answered. I'm talking about important etiquette, right? If you do not send blessings on Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what happened? The dua will be suspended. That means it may not reach Allah. Right? So very important. So again, glorify Allah, send blessings of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then after that, seek his forgiveness. In authentic hadith, we open the Ibn Kathir, right? That one of the best dua seeking forgiveness was the dua of Yunus alayhi salam. Isn't it true? La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minal zalimin. Okay? You can say astaghfirullah and anything, right? But you always try to choose the best ones, inshallah. Okay? So memorize this dua, surah number 21, verse number 87. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minal zalimin. Right? And then last one more time, glorify Allah. Then we need to send blessings to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then we ask forgiveness. Last one, brothers and sisters. Anybody? Now, what did Allah say in, for example, John Dickinson? What is it? Right? Turn to Surah number 40, verse number 60. Right? وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمُ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ عَنْ عِبَادَتِي سَيَدْخُلُونَ جَهَنَّمَ دَاخِرِينَ. Invoke me, I will respond to you, right? Whether those who scorn my worship, they will surely enter hell in humiliation, right? Now, we need to ask Allah by His beautiful name, isn't it true? Right? So 40, 60, right? Correct. So we need to ask Allah about His beautiful names, right? What is the best name to ask Allah? Use His name. What is the best name of Allah? Yes, Allah. That name Allah is the best name, isn't it? Ya Allah, right? Ya Rab, yeah. Ya Ghafar, yeah. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, and all this, right? Then you ask Allah for whatever things that you ask, but you need to match. You cannot say Ya Razaq, which means the one who provides, forgive me. Isn't it true, right? You need to say Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, yeah, forgive me. So Ya Razaq, yeah, increase my risk, because I know, subhanallah, some of you are not working for whatever reasons. Is Allah's test. Yeah, ask Allah to increase your risk, right? So something in which you say Ya Razaq, yeah, or Ya Rab. Yep. So all these things we need to memorize. So all these are the homework in which, if you don't do this, of course your dua will be answered, but it's not perfect, isn't it true? Because, for example, right, if, hate to say this, right, if the husband want to ask wife for something, a favor, right, you can say, right, oh, sweetie pie, right, you are so beautiful, you are so nice, right, I've never met anybody so nice, right, you're so thoughtful, right, and then you say, right, can you help me win this, please, darling? Right? So all this kind of things, right? I know it's very cringy, isn't it true? My hair standing on ends, right? But these are the things that can help, isn't it true? Right? So when you, okay, brothers, right? you can say, you're so beautiful, right? Or you can say, oh, you're so beautiful, like the sun that is rising from the east, that is enchanting my eyes, and all this. Isn't it true? Right? So these are the things in which, I'm not that romantic, as you can see, right? But these are the things that you can use in order to, um, you know, complement each other, right? So this is the thing in which, for example, so when you ask Allah, ask by His beautiful names, Ya Allah, Ya Rab, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Razak, and all this, right? So correct all our deeds. Remember, we talked about the saying, right? The month of Rajab, which is over, is a month to sow our seeds. This month is to irrigate, make sure that everything is good. Yeah, there's enough water for our harvest. And the next month is a month of harvesting, isn't it true? Right? The month of harvesting in which it is time for us to reap our rewards. It shouldn't be the month, of course, you can always seek knowledge in the month of Ramadan, but it's supposed to quickly, you got this, you got more reward and all this, right? And so we need to quickly, what do you call it, learn now and correct our mistakes, inshallah. All right. The next thing that we should do in this month, okay, again, the topic today was about the common mistakes that people do, right? Now we are talking about preparations which people never do, right? The next one, especially for the sisters, right? Please ensure that you have um, paid back the missed fasting, right? Or those brothers who are sick, or sisters who are sick, yeah, cannot, or who are traveling and you were not able to perform your fasting last Ramadan. You should do it now, inshallah, right? So make sure you do this, because if not, you have committed a major sin, right? The next one, of course, is to improve your recitations. Alhamdulillah, I'm so happy that a lot of you are working hard in your recitations. I know the brothers who are with me, many of you are completing the book number 6 and all this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you in terms of your recitation, allow you to read the Quran in proper tajweed, right? And make sure you understand the meanings, inshallah. So these are the things in which some people, the mistake is that we don't even bother. The Quran now, some people are still on the top shelf, right? You're waiting for the first of Ramadan, then you pick it up and you dust it and you start to read, right? The Quran must be read, inshallah, all the time, today, tomorrow, next day, and all this, right? So we need to improve our recitation, inshallah. Just as a reminder, for the sisters, inshallah, is tomorrow, isn't it true? 1:45. We're going to do on Skype, because at least we can interact, inshallah. Skype, tafsir and recitation. For the brothers, inshallah, it will be tomorrow or at 4 o'clock. Okay. Now, the next one, as I said, another common mistake is that people, as I said just now, continuously saying things or reciting the same surah all the time. You're not improving yourself, right? You need to, from today onwards, inshallah, try to memorize more things, right? If any of you have not memorized Ayatul Kursi, you need to do it now, because it's the most important verse in the Quran, isn't it true? As you memorize the verse of the Quran, you need to understand the meaning, inshallah. Okay. Now the next one, as I said before, the brothers especially, you will be leading the family in your qunut dua. So qunut dua is in the last. It's a sunnah, of course. If you don't do it, your prayer, your prayer will still be accepted. In the last raka'ah of your Taraweeh prayer, when you say Sami Allahu liman hamidah, then you recite you raise your hand and you make this dua, Allahumma, anything, right, that you have memorized, right? There are things in the fortress of the Muslim in which we have been taught, yeah, about asking Allah for guidance and all this, right? So it's very important for you to memorize more dua, right? It should be in Arabic. Dua qunut, yes, right? The dua qunut, yeah, is especially, as I said, for the brothers. If you're leading your family, you need to memorize more dua, isn't it true? Right? As I said, it is a sunnah. If you not do it, it's not the end of the world, right? It's still accepted, but it is better to do it occasionally, the dua qunut. Okay, the sisters, you can do it, of course, especially when there's no men in the family, and or you have children who are boys and you're leading the prayer and all this, young boys I'm talking about, right, before puberty and all this, right? You can do it, right? You can learn more dua, inshallah. No, so at no time must the sisters be leading the prayer in the house when there are adult male in the house, right? You're not allowed to do it. Okay, so it's better for you, inshallah. As I said, I'm very hopeful that this year, inshallah, that it be very amazing Ramadan for you and I. Yeah, because we're our family members, inshallah, right? We're encouraging each other to pray and all this, especially the Taraweeh prayer. Okay, so I'm very hopeful, inshallah. It's just that we need to put in some effort, inshallah, to memorize some dua and to memorize more verses of the Quran, inshallah. It need not be Baqarah and all this. Just use more verses, inshallah. Right? You have about 3 weeks, inshallah. So please do it. Okay. We're gonna talk about it later, of course, about maybe next week, right? About how many raka'ah you should do in your Taraweeh prayer, the rules of fasting. We're going to talk next week, inshallah, closer to Ramadan, so that you won't forget, inshallah. Okay. Now, what if the boys have reached puberty but don't know how to do it? Then you need to learn, isn't it true? 3 weeks is enough to learn about the Tarawih prayer and all this, right? Just ask me personally, Skype me or WhatsApp me. I'll help you, inshallah. Okay. Now, can somebody help our Skype group? Somebody trying to put it in. Can somebody just STEPS2ALLAH retreat in Skype would tell them to go into YouTube, please, right? For our talk for today. Now, the next one, fasting in Shaban. Tell me a reason, right? Why are people still so lazy to fast in the month of Shaban? Give me a reason. Why are people still not fasting in the month of Shaban? Anybody? Is there an excuse not to fast in the month of Shaban? Because hadith is very clear, isn't it? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in many authentic hadith, right? I can read you one from Muslim and all this, right? Aisha said he used to fast until we thought that he would always fast, and he would not fast until we thought he would never fast. Right? So he fasted in the month of Shaban in many days, except the last few days before Shaban. Right? We have to. Shaitan's released. Yes, of course. Shaitan is the one who prevent you and I from fasting, isn't it true? Right? We have to try and fast in this month. This is the blessed month of Shaban. Right? Our deeds are accessed every Mondays and Thursdays. Right? We should try and fast on Mondays and Thursdays at least, inshallah. Isn't it true? Right? So you need to strive to fast in the month of Shaban according to authentic hadith, inshallah. So do it, inshallah, right? To fast in this month of Shaban, right? Is it easy or difficult to fast, brothers and sisters, in this month? Now, Fajr is about 4:50 something, isn't it true? Right? Maghrib, I think because I'm confused between the time just changed, the summer time, isn't it true? Maghrib is about 7:30, isn't it true? Right? It's not that bad, isn't it? Correct? Remember last few years of Ramadan, we were fasting from 3 o'clock until about 9:30, right? It's still very easy to fast, isn't it true? So can everybody please fast in this month of Ramadan, Shaban, inshallah, because it's a huge thing. Because subhanallah, aren't we here to follow the ways of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our beloved prophet, right? So it's something in which we need to try and fast in this month of Shaban, right? So this is another mistake, right? In which you are not fasting this month of Shaban, and then once you come to Ramadan, you are struggling. A lot of people will be struggling in the first few days of Ramadan, right? Headaches, frequent headaches, and then you feel as you're going to die, right? You cannot move, so lethargic. It's because you're not practicing your fasting in the month of Shaban, right? You and I, you know that, alhamdulillah, nice weather, right? Today is 20, oh, sorry, 15, tomorrow is 20, inshallah. So you and I, we need to try and fast in the month of Shaban, inshallah. No, how can you get weak in this month? Come on, right? If you fast in Shaban, always remember, right? Even for me, when I miss, I'm a human being, of course. I may miss my um, sahur, right? I will always think, right? Now, those people in Yemen, those people in Syria, they are not even eating for so many days, isn't it true? And that they're not dying, right? So we need to understand, right? This is all a state of mind, firstly. Secondly, we want to follow the footsteps of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Don't you want to follow the best person's footsteps? It's not just about following David Beckham and all these celebrities on this, isn't it true? Right? You want to follow the best person, the role model, to fast in the month of Shaban, right? So do try and um, fast in this month, inshallah, right? Again, we are at home, as the brothers, we're at home anyway, right? um, Even though we shouldn't be sleeping the whole day, isn't it true? We had this habit of, as if we're going to die because just because we're not eating for the day. Try to be more active. We're going to talk about later about the common mistakes in Ramadan, right? So do fast in as many days as possible. Now, the ruling is I repeat again, right? If those of you who have not started in Ramadan, in Shaban, the fasting, once come the 15th of Shaban, then you are not allowed to fast at all until Ramadan comes. If you want to um, fast in Shaban, do it now, right? Today is Saturday, Monday in 2 days time, inshallah. Just try to do it, inshallah, right? Very important. If you want to fast continuously, right? Now, it is a big innovation to fast only on the 15th of Shaban, right? I repeat again, some people have this habit from parents, from forefathers, to fast on 15th of Shaban, thinking that that is the blessed day to fast. There is no authentic hadith on this, so please do not do that. Okay? If you want to fast, fast now, right? Um, sorry. Yeah, sahur, of course, we can eat in groups. It's up to you, right? Depends on your family members, right? I eat sahur. What did I eat? Just cereals and cornflakes. Very easy. Only about less than 10 minutes I finish. Alhamdulillah, right? And iftar, you don't need to eat with what do you call it, 10-course dinner. Isn't it true? Right? Just a simple. We're going to talk a bit later about when it comes to Ramadan, inshallah. Okay. Um, so if you're the only one who are fasting, of course, do it on your own. If you want to encourage people to fast in Shaban, do it, please. Right? Because it's a huge blessing. You are because the virtues of fasting, like for example, your face will be held away from hellfire for 70 years for every day of fasting. A dog called Al Rayyan in Jannah and all this fasting is only for Allah. All this hadith about fasting we discussed last week, right? It doesn't occur only for fasting in the month of Ramadan, isn't it true? It applies to all the days that we are fasting, subhanAllah, right? So do try and fast as many days as possible, inshallah. But of course, right, brothers and sisters, those of you who are just starting to practice Islam or who are reverts to Islam, this may be your first year. Do not overexert yourself, inshallah, right? Or those who are weak, yeah, physically and all this, do not overexert yourself. Know your limits, right? Now, the last few days of Shaban, please do not fast. So you must have a gap of 1-2 days before Ramadan. Do not fast. You're not allowed to fast, right? To differentiate between Shaban and Ramadan, inshallah. Okay. Now, um, so I repeat again about fasting in Shaban. If you have not fasted now until 15 of Shaban, you are not allowed to fast until Ramadan, right? Do not fast only on the 15th and you don't fast any other days is an innovation, right? And do not fast 1 or 2 days before the month of Ramadan, inshallah. Okay. Now, the next one, the next common mistake, and I sincerely I'm telling you now, right? Do seek forgiveness of others in which you may have offended. Right? This is important to understand that Allah can forgive sins between or shortcomings between you and Him. Right? But the sins you make against, not sins, the rights of others in which you have infringed, right? You Allah cannot forgive us, right? You need to ask others for forgiveness, right? So that's all for me personally. In front of everybody here on YouTube, I also seek forgiveness from all of you, right? If I ever offend any one of you, whether it's deliberately or accidentally, right? Please forgive me and my wife, of course, for our shortcomings, right? This is something in which we need to ask each other for forgiveness before we start Ramadan, just to start on a good note, inshallah. Okay, so this is important, right? That we clear ourselves between all of us, right? That we seek others for forgiveness. Okay, now, so in terms of improving our character, right? This is still part of a pre-Ramadan preparation. Brothers, if you are always, right, loose on your tongue, right, saying things or writing things, or, that are completely out of order Islamically, do try and rectify yourself now. It's quite tricky to do it in Ramadan, right? Because you always have this habit of doing it. Habits sometimes are quite difficult to rectify, right? Of course, first come from Allah, ask Allah to help us. Secondly, you need to tie the camel. You also need to be so conscious about not saying things that may offend others, not saying things about, that talk about others and all this. Okay, now, any questions just about these pre-Ramadan preparations, just type it at the side and inshallah I will address it. Okay, now so all these things that we have discussed for the past maybe about half an hour or 40 minutes were all about pre-Ramadan preparations, the mistakes that people did, that they never did all these preparations, right? In which you and I, we need to do this, inshallah. All right, that's why we are in a group, alhamdulillah, STEPS2ALLAH. We're trying to encourage each other how to do this, right? Remember the very famous phrase, right? If you fail to prepare, then you need to prepare to fail, right? This Ramadan, make it the best Ramadan, inshallah. Okay, now during Ramadan itself, right? Now come to the important part about Ramadan, right? What are the common mistakes that people make? First of all, hate to say this, many people treat this like a ritual, right? I may admit myself in the beginning, and I think I've told you before, right? When I came to UK, I was quite impressed, right? How actually people here are more prepared in general, of course, or not prepared, more focused on Ramadan, right, than Eid. In where I come from, in Singapore and perhaps in Malaysia and all this, right? Eid is the number one event of the year. It's preceded Ramadan, right? So sometimes people are, subhanallah, preparation for Eid must come first, right? So they will, like, hate to say this, sorry sisters, some sisters, they have to make special clothes for Eid. So before Ramadan, right, they send their measurements and their clothing to the tailor, all right, to make their clothing for Ramadan, right? Everything, right? Everything is prepared for Eid. Focus on Eid. Even the bazaar of Eid or Ramadan bazaar is opening soon, right? In Singapore. It's all about food, celebrations, preparation, which is for me completely wrong, right? Of course, I mean, you can't blame me because I was brought up in that kind of environment, right? For me, it's quite normal. But when I came here, it's quite refreshing. People actually focusing on Ramadan, right? In where I came from, in Malaysia, Indonesia, and all this, subhanallah, right? There is this on the radio, they played all these Eid songs and all this, right? So many things about Eid more than Ramadan, right? Um, so something in which we we need to understand Ramadan is not a ritual, it's a gift from Allah to you and I. Isn't it true? It's a gift. Subhanallah, this is His mercy. One whole month, we talked about hadith last week, right? Where Allah helped us, right? First of all, shaitan is locked up, right? So once our number one enemy is locked up, we have, subhanallah, we somehow or other, a lot of things in which, in Ramadan, right? A lot of things in which we were wasting time outside Ramadan, we won't do it in Ramadan. Isn't it true? Like watching too much TV and all this, too much internet, right? And then after that, also in this month, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gave us so much strength, isn't it true? I don't know how I could get a lot of strength in the month of Ramadan, right? Fasting from 3 o'clock to about 9 o'clock. If you were to pray in East London Mosque, we have to come back at about 1 o'clock. We reach home about 2 o'clock, and then in those early days, right? And then after that, we start to do our suhoor, and then after that, we start our fast continuously for one whole month, and no problem, alhamdulillah, right? Allah gave us so much strength, right? So do treat this Ramadan not as a ritual, right? Something in which we discussed last week. This is a month in which, brothers, sisters, right? What is the hadith again? When Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our prophet, he was on the mimbar and he said Amin 3 times. What did he say Amin 3 times? Anybody? To deal with Ramadan, one of them. He said, right? Jibril came, right? And Jibril told him about 3 things, right? One of them was about Ramadan. Wasn't it true? May those people who Ramadan has passed, right? And the sins are not forgiven, may he or she be in hellfire. And it's quite important to understand that this is the month to seek Allah's forgiveness. That is what the main dua of Laylatul Qadar, which was the last 10 of Ramadan, would be. Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Right? Asking Allah, oh Allah, you are the one who forgives. You love to forgive, so forgive me. So this is the thing in which we need to understand. All of us are sinning all the time. If you don't ask Allah for forgiveness this month of Ramadan, inshallah, when are we going to come back to Allah? Isn't it true? Right? Of course. Right? We have to understand. We did not need to wait for Ramadan, which is about 3 weeks time, to ask for His forgiveness. Isn't it true? We can ask for forgiveness anytime. But that is a special month, inshallah, to ask Allah for forgiveness. The heaven door is open very widely, yeah, for all of us to ask for His forgiveness. The next one, of course, we know that month was the month, and Ramadan, the month was revealed the Quran. So we need to come back to the Quran, form a good relationship with the Quran, yeah, make sure the Quran, right, it is really read and understood, right, slowly but surely, yeah, that we read. There's, as I said, there's no contest, there's no competition who can finish the Quran first in Ramadan, right? We need to really understand, right? If you don't finish the Quran in Arabic, it's fine, but make sure you understand it. And most important for me, that you need to make the change in ourselves, right? For me personally, if one do not change in Ramadan, I don't know which month you can change. Okay. Now the next one, of course, as I said just now, this month is correct our deeds, our salah, and all this, right? And the month, inshallah, to feed the poor and to feed those who need our help. Right? Just to take it away from this talk, inshallah. And as I said before, every year, Steps to Allah, we're helping those people in Indonesia. Brothers, sisters, you and I, we have our benefit system. You got no work, you can claim from the government and all this. In Indonesia, there's no such thing, right? They're already very poor. Now they are even, many of them, or in many parts, there's also coronavirus and all this, right? So it's affecting them also, of course. You saw also in some of the news or the Facebook and all this, the videos about Indonesia and all this, right? So we are collecting money, inshallah. as every year we are doing it. So we're helping them in the iftar, in many things, in the zakat. If you want to do a zakat, we do it specifically. And rest assured, all money 100% will go to them, inshallah. Right? So do send the money directly to me or my sister Lisa, and she will forward the money to me, inshallah. If you need my details, just after this, just message me personally, and I'll give you my account details. Inshallah, by I think the last day or second last day of Ramadan, we would have to send the money there, inshallah. Okay, so do understand this. Okay. Now, so this is the month in which you and I, we need to make sure we do not take this as a ritual, right? That we will make sure we make use of this month to cleanse ourselves, to energize our iman, right? To make sure that we seek Allah sincerely, yeah, for His forgiveness, for Him to grant us His taqwa, not just during Ramadan, but all the way until our death. Is it our deathbed, our last breath? It's very important. This is not to have taqwa only in Ramadan, right? It's all the way, right? What did Allah say in the Quran? To worship Allah until death. Which verse in the Quran? We discussed, I think, on Thursday. Brothers and sisters, what did Allah say in the Quran about worshipping Allah until death? Until they come to you, this certainty, right? Certainty means death. No. Which surah? Turn to surah number 15, is it true? 15 in the last verse number 99. Okay, 1599. All right. Wa'bud rabbaka hatta ya'tiyakal yaqin. Yeah, wa'bud rabbaka hatta ya'tiyakal yaqin. Worship your Lord until there comes to you the certainty. Right? So this is important, right? That we make use of this Ramadan, inshallah, to energize our iman, right? And hopefully it will last all the way until death. Of course, brothers, sisters, as I said just now earlier, it's impossible for you and I to continuously be in high state of iman. Our iman will always drop, right? But with this Ramadan, inshallah, when it drops, yeah, after Ramadan, we have this ability, inshallah, with Allah's guidance and help, to increase our iman again, inshallah. Okay, so this is the first mistake during Ramadan, that people are always treating Ramadan as a ritual. Okay. Now, the second mistake in Ramadan, right, is when people are not able to control the tongue. Right? Remember what was especially during fasting, right? Now, this is very important, right? Some people may say, "Oh, okay, I'm fasting now, right? I know about this person, right? Wait, I'll tell you when I break my fast." So, subhanallah, right? That means you have not understood the purpose of fasting, right? What did Allah say about fasting? It is to achieve taqwa. Isn't it true? In surah number 2, verse number 183. Taqwa means not just during fasting. Isn't it true? All the time, inshallah. Okay? Now, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said in hadith from Al-Hakim and Ibn Khuzaimah, he said, perhaps someone's fasting, his share is hunger and thirst. That means that he will achieve nothing but hunger and thirst. SubhanAllah, can you imagine in those days when we fast for at least about 18, 19 hours? Some people will achieve nothing. No taqwa, no iman, but just hunger and thirst. Right? Now, in another hadith from narrated by Bukhari, Prophet Muhammad said, whoever does not abandon false words and deeds Allah has no need for him to leave his food and drink. That means Allah do not need, brothers and sisters, Allah do not need our acts of worship. Why should we think that we owe Allah a favor, right? By worshipping him, by fasting in Ramadan. It is for us, it's not for him, right? Something which we need to understand. If we do not abandon our false words and deeds, right? Allah do not need our fasting, right? So we have to try and control the tongue as much as possible, right? Now, one of the Salaf said, right, the easiest fast is keeping away from food and drink, which is quite true, isn't it true? Alhamdulillah, right? Of course, time is getting shorter for fasting in Ramadan, right? Easiest way of fast is not to eat and not, but fasting, right? The easiest way is not to eat and not to drink. That's the easiest part of fasting, isn't it true? But to control others, the eyes, the ears, the mouth, is quite tricky to some people, right? Now, Jabir said, when you fast, let your hearing, sight, and tongue abstain from lying and haram living, harming. Let this one more time. When you fast, let your hearing, sight, and tongue abstain from lying and haram, living, harming the neighbor. You should be calm and collected the day of your fast. Do not make the day you fast the same as the day that you don't. So there must be a difference in Ramadan and outside Ramadan. Of course, we are humans, right? There are things in which we just cannot control, right? But make sure in this Ramadan, our fasting be different. The way we react, the way we behave from tongue, the ear, and the sight must be different, inshallah, from in any other month. Okay? Now, Prophet Muhammad said in another hadith from Bukhari Muslim, right? Fasting is a shield. When any one of you is fasting on a day, he should neither indulge in obscene language nor raise his voice. Rather, if someone reviles him or quarrels with him, he should say, I'm fasting. Okay? So this is the things in which we have to be careful about, right? Our tongue, yeah, and any other things, the eyes and the ears, backbiting, lying. Are we allowed to lie? This is quite common, is it true? Right? Are we allowed to lie, brothers and sisters? Only on three conditions, isn't it true? We discussed many times, right? To resolve disputes between brothers and sisters, or sisters and sisters, brothers and brothers, and all this, right? With husband and wife to a certain extent, right? So, hate to say this, my wife is not listening, right? So, sometimes I ate with the brothers invite me to eat, isn't it true? In the mosque, right? And my wife cook at home, right? So she, of course, if a wife were to cook at home, she would expect you to be hungry for her food, isn't it true, right? So whenever I go home, I would say, "Oh, I'm very hungry," right? Even though actually I ate with the brothers and all this, right? So it's something in which you can do things, right, in order to maintain or save the relationship. Okay. Um, so another thing is, of course, in terms of when you are at war, right? When the enemy, for example, enemies want to force you to say the position where the location of another Muslim, then you can lie, something like that. Okay. So be careful about using foul languages, right? And do not make others angry and all this. In the sense that we know that in Ramadan, right, shaitan is locked up, isn't it true? In general, right? So that means when people are still doing this, it clearly shows it's not from shaitan, isn't it true? Where does it come from? That means it must be coming from us, isn't it true? Right? It's within our own nerves, right? So don't blame shaitan for your backbiting in Ramadan. Don't blame shaitan, yeah, for the lying and what you do, right? It is from your own self, right? Because where in the Quran did Allah say that our nafs are always disobeying Allah or rebelling, unless Allah put His guidance? Where did Allah say it in the Quran? Which surah? We said this many times. Surah number 12, verse number 12, right? 12, verse number. Give me one guess. Verse number 53, isn't it true? Right? We did before so many times. 12:53. Let's look at it. Is this now called? Yep. Okay, in the middle part. Inna nafsa la ammaratum bisu'i illa ma rahima rabbi inna rabbi ghafurur rahim. Right? In the second part, whether the human self is inclined to evil except when my Lord bestows his mercy. Verily my Lord is often forgiving, the most merciful. Right? So this is important, right? To understand that our nerves are always inclined to disobey. Right? 12 was number 53, right? So this is something in which unless Allah guides us or bestows his mercy, then we'll be guided. Okay, that's why do not blame shaitan on the day of judgment if we are doing things, right, in terms of disobeying Allah. We have to blame ourselves. Okay, that is why, subhanallah, we discussed last week, right, towards the end of Ramadan, what should we do in order to rectify our deeds that we may have done wrong in Ramadan? What do we do? Brothers, sisters, what do we do in the last part of Ramadan to rectify our misdeeds or things that we have wronged in our Ramadan? What kind of charity? Zakat fitr, isn't it true? Right? The thing that, as I said last week, do not get confused between zakat. It must be zakat fitr, right? That means £5 or £4.50, depends on your area and all this, right? You donate it to this box, not zakat box. Don't donate in the wrong box. Make sure zakat fitr, which must be done before the end of the starting of the Eid prayer, right? But try to do it earlier, perhaps on the 20th night or 21st night, so that, as you know, it's quite difficult to travel around with this coronavirus and all this. Travel may be quite restricted, right? So they need some time for your money to reach the poor and all this, right? So try to give it a bit earlier, right? 21st, 22nd, and all this night, right? So this is every single member in your family, whether it's a baby or an older person, 90, 100 years old, everyone must contribute this. Make sure you check. Don't assume that your father is doing it, right? As long as one person is doing it for the family, it's considered as done. So this is an obligatory part of your deed, zakat fitr, yeah, so that you, inshallah, and I are able to not just help the poor, but cleanse our wrongs that we have done in Ramadan. Okay. Now, let's go to the number 3, right? Too much emphasis the mistakes in Ramadan of the food and drink. Inshallah, this year, if we are still not allowed to go out, it's a bit controlled, isn't it true? Right? There's a big but, right? Especially for those who are in charge of cooking in your family, right? The mothers sometimes, right? Always remember, right, that Ramadan is not about eating and more eating, right? Hate to say this, we go to the Middle Eastern countries, right? All the restaurants are open at night, And a lot of people are actually gaining weight in Ramadan than losing weight, right? Because all the nights are spent on eating and eating and more eating, right? So this is something in which we need to avoid, right? Um, some mothers are spending, for example, the morning preparing what to eat, what to cook for the iftar, right? And then after that, went to the markets, and then afternoon spend about 3 4 hours cooking. And subhanallah, right? This is not what Ramadan is all about, right? So do ensure, especially sons, brothers, yeah, make sure, and daughters, make sure your mother are have sufficient time to read the Quran, right? Don't stress her, right? Or those whoever is preparing food for the family, don't stress them about you must have this for iftar. Perhaps this year, subhanallah, because of this coronavirus, right? It teaches us to be more simple in our iftar, isn't it true? Right? There's always goodness in Allah's plan, right? So as I say, you do not need to have this 10 course dinner, right? Because of this, right? Some people, as you know, right, they are also missing the Maghrib prayer because too much food, right? We have to understand, sisters and brothers, right? Maghrib has a limit, has a time limit, right? Maghrib has a time limit, right? Um, you should see, right, the if the what do you call it? The light, right, is almost is disappeared and all this. That means Isha has arrived, right? So subhanallah, right? Some people are doing this, right? Eating and missing Maghrib, right? Some people, yes, alhamdulillah, you eat, yeah, the dates first and all this, right? And then after that, you pray a Maghrib, then you eat your main course. This is the best, right? But then you again you eat too much, then especially in this last years when you can go to the mosque, right? You even miss the Isha prayer in the mosque because the time was spent too much time talking, and you have your iftar parties, right? Inviting all your uncles, aunties, families, neighbors to your house for this big iftar party, especially the first day of Ramadan, subhanallah. And perhaps this year, inshallah, it will be different, right? Different with Allah's plan, right? That He's a better planner. This is be very simple. Got no chance to invite your people from outside your house, which you shouldn't, right? Do not do that. And again, as the brother said, you will, if you eat too much, you'll be sleepy in your prayer, isn't it true? Right? So this is it, right? So turn to Surah number 7, verse number 31. Right? 7. In verse number 31. Right? In the second part. Yeah, Allah even said, yes, Kulu wa kulu washrabu wa la tusrifu innahu la yuhibbul musrifin. Yes, you can eat and drink, but do not waste by extravagance. Certainly, Allah do not like the musrifun, yeah, those who waste by extravagance. Right? 7 in verse number 31. Right? No need to be extravagant. Think of those people who don't have even the opportunity to eat a lot. Some people have even no iftar, just maybe dates and all this. Right? Some people have no sahur and all this. Right? So think of others. Right? Perhaps you can use that money that you spend for shopping, for food, to donate to others. Isn't it true? Right? That have no opportunity in Syria, in Yemen, and all this. You know that in Yemen, right? About 6 million people were malnourished today in all this. Subhanallah, a very avoidable war, right? And something in which we need to really think about others. Right? Isn't Muhammad sallallahu in the hadith, right? If you should love your brother what you love for yourself. Isn't it true? Right? So donate your money, right? Either to us in Indonesia. So many poor people need our help, right? Or to things that other charities in which you know, inshallah. Okay. Now, also turn to Surah number 17, verse number 26 to 27, right? 17, verse number 26 to 27, right? 26 in the last part, right? وَلَا تُبَذِّرْ تَبْذِيرًا إِنَّ الْمُبَذِّرِينَ كَانُوا إِخْوَانَ الشَّيَاطِينِ وَكَانَ الشَّيْطَانُ لِرَبِّهِ كَفُورًا. Right? Spend not wastefully in the manner of a spendthrift. Well, the spendthrift are the brothers of shayateen. Yeah? And the shaitan is ever ungrateful to his Lord. Okay, Allah warned us, right? Do not waste, yeah, in extravagance. You do not need to be extravagant in your iftar, right? I hate to say this, right? Again, I only can say share experience among my culture where, it's elaborate in Singapore or Malaysia, the iftar, right? Don't know where the food comes from. The whole table is full of food, right? Or sometimes they go to have this if buffet in the hotel, spend so much money, and subhanallah, right? When we should know the importance of Ramadan is not about eating, isn't it true? Right? It's about coming back to Allah. It's about asking for forgiveness. It's about recharging our iman, inshallah. Right? So we need really to make this Ramadan different, inshallah, from previous years. Perhaps, as I said just now, this inability for you and I to go out of the house, even in Ramadan, right? It's a blessing in disguise, right? For us to make our Ramadan this year, inshallah, simple, right? Remember, Allah is always the best of planner. Okay. Now, so in general, right? Moderation is a key to everything. Remember the hadith Prophet said, I think from Tirmidhi, right? The son of Adam does not fill any vessel worse than his stomach. For the son of Adam, a few mouthfuls are sufficient to keep his back straight. Right? You do not need to eat and eat and eat. Right? If you must fill it, then 1/3 for food, one third for drink, and 1/3 for air. Right? It's not 1/3 for samosa, 1/3 for biryani, and 1/3 for your don't know what drinks you have, right? And this is important to try and understand this, right? About moderation, right? About feeling it just sufficient, yeah, for you to be able to, inshallah, get this calm energy to do your night prayer, inshallah. Okay. Now, the next common mistake in Ramadan, right? It's about wasting time and sleeping. Yes, we are in lockdown. I know it's quite difficult, isn't it true? In lockdown, sometimes you feel quite, because we are those who are working are always going to work and early morning. Your routine, all this, but once there's no discipline, it's quite difficult, right? So in Ramadan, it's the same thing, right? Of course, brothers, sisters, if you're tired, it is a sunnah to take a short nap after the zuhoor, isn't it true? It is a sunnah, right? I mean, in Spanish, you call it siesta, right? That you can, take a short nap, right? But make sure you understand again the significance of fasting, yeah, especially in Ramadan, that the main aim is to achieve what? Taqwa, right? So this is in the sense that do make take this opportunity when you're fasting, right? That to make a lot of dua, right? Because remember the hadith from Abu Hurairah anhu, who said that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there are three whose dua is not rejected: a just ruler, the fasting person when he breaks the fast, and the praise of the oppressed person. Right? Remember this, right? One of the best time that you and I have our dua answered is that fasting. Of course, you can make dua in any fast, in any parts of the fasting, but especially at the time before you break your fast, right? So do not switch on the TV and watch waiting for adhan, isn't it true? So you are waiting for this, and you watch all these cartoons and you watch all these things and all this, right? You do on social media, Facebook, asking your friends, what are you eating, right? What's up? What are you eating, and all this. Subhanallah, right? You should spend at least 10 minutes before adhan, right? Lifting out your hands. Yeah, remember fulfilling the criteria of the dua we discussed just now. Make dua to Allah, right? And these are the best time to make dua. So why should we waste time on social media, on watching videos? And subhanallah, forgive me if I say something wrong, right? Those who are preparing the food, even, right? Please ensure you finish preparing the food, everything, right? Perhaps 20 minutes before adhan. Then you yourself can spend this time making dua. Isn't it true? You do not need to 2 hours before Maghrib cook, finish everything. Even before Maghrib, you warm the food and all this. Subhanallah, right? You need to think about yourself too, right? And the children of the mothers and all this. You need to help your mothers to prepare for to make dua. Isn't it true? Don't always push your mothers to make this food and that food and all this. You need to be really, inshallah, right? Considerate, yeah, to your mother or those who are preparing the food, or your sister and all this, ensuring, right, that they also have the opportunity to make dua. Okay, understand, this is very important, right? That those who are preparing food also make dua before the iftar. So everybody make dua individually, not as a group, right? So do make dua individually, inshallah. Okay, now so about the hadith, yeah. Before you do your iftar, yeah, some people just eat without making this dua, right? The authentic hadith, yeah, is from Abu Dawud. For example, there's a few of them. Yeah, ذهب الظمأ وبطلت العروق وثبت الأجر إن شاء Allah. The thirst has gone, the veins are moistened, and the reward is proven if Allah wills. We may go through this, inshallah, when we go through the um, topics about fasting, right? So don't worry about this, but you need to understand there is a special dua before you eat your food, right? So don't just eat without making this special dua, yeah, about iftar, right? Now, so this is something in which um, there is another hadith from Ibn Majah, Sahih al-Albani. Prophet Muhammad SAW said, look at this hadith, right? At every breaking of the fast, Allah has people whom He redeems from the fire, and that happens every night. I repeat again, right? At every breaking of the fast, Allah has people whom He redeems from the fire, and that happens every night. So, for example, what is the best dua? Asking Allah to protect us from hellfire. Anybody? What is the best dua? I mean, there can be many dua, but I'm just asking one example. For example, give me a dua that will protect us from the hellfire. All of us should know this, isn't it true? Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzaban nar. Ya Allah, grant us what is good in this world, what is good in the hereafter, and protect us from the punishment of the hellfire. Because of this hadith, isn't it true? Right? That at the point of breaking a fast, Allah has people whom He redeems from the fire. Subhanallah, if we are among these people, it's amazing, isn't it true? That we are among those people because of the dua that we make, and we are fasting. We are making use of this last minute or last few minutes before our iftar. We are among those people, inshallah, that Allah will protect us from hellfire. Is such an amazing gift for this Ramadan, inshallah, isn't it true? Right? So make whatever dua that you know, inshallah, right? So this Rabbana Atina is which surah? Anybody? Surah number Al-Baqarah, in verse number what? Verse number No, 183 is about fasting, isn't it true? Right? Is verse number 200, isn't it true? Right? 200, right? 2 was number 200, right? Um, okay. Or 201, sorry. Yeah, 201. Yeah, about this. So you need to know this because it's all about evidence, right? That we say 201, right? Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzaban. 201. 200 is about this dua of this person who asked Allah for everything in this world, but Allah will not give this person the reward of the hereafter. Yeah, 201. Okay. Now, so um, before we move on to another point, so do remember, right? Um, mothers, sisters, right, or brothers, right? Spend these few minutes before iftar, not to fill up your water bottle, to fill up your cups, to make sure the samosas are in this plate, to fill up the no, forget about all this, right? Make dua to Allah. If you see your family members are busy doing this, what should you do? You need to advise them, stop all this, isn't it true? Stop it. Yeah, make dua now, right? So that we are able to get the full benefit. Inshallah, we were among those people whom Allah has promised to save us from the hellfire during these last few minutes before iftar. Isn't it true? Okay. Now, the next common mistake. Oh, I'm so tired. I will eat before I sleep. Right? Drink before I sleep. That's it. Right? Then I won't need. No need to wake up for sahur. I just wake up for fajr. Right? Always remember hadith from Bukhari Muslim, which is authentic, inshallah. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "It's sahur, right? For in sahur there is a blessing." Right? From Bukhari Muslim. Another hadith sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, right? Differentiate between our fasting and the fasting of people of the book, right? Because one of the difference is eating sahur, right? Remember, sahur is not about an 8-course meal don't um, bother or trouble your mothers, your sisters, your fathers, and all this to prepare your sahur. Isn't it true? It should be a meal in which is so easy and light, inshallah. So the first thing we need to do is that make an intention to wake up for sahur, right? As I said, for me, it's always cereals and all this. Subhanallah, because cereals, I didn't believe it, right? I just started this maybe about what 6 years ago, even a bit longer. Before that, in Singapore, as you know, right, everything about rice, breakfast rice, lunch rice, dinner rice, everything about rice, right, which it makes you so full only for about 1-2 hours, right? So this is about for cereals and all this is very good, yeah, because it stored your energy a lot, right, and you won't feel hungry, inshallah, right, until your iftar. Okay, so take sahur. Now, I would advise you this, right? I know because you might be demoralized if you cannot wake up cannot wake up for sahur. Before you sleep, just drink a lot of water, right? Because for me, when I drink a lot of water, that means what? You want to go to pee at night, isn't it true? Firstly. Secondly, in case you cannot wake up, because we are humans, right? We might not wake up for sahur, wake up immediately, it was fajr time, then you might be demoralized. But so drink a lot of water before you sleep, right? Just to fill it up, but have the intention, right, about to wake up for sahur, because a lot of blessings in sahur, right? Make it fast, right? Now, very important. I know Islam channel has a dua before the sahur ends, right? Now, there is no hadith, authentic hadith at all, right? There is a special dua for sahur. Iftar, yes, not sahur. So do beware or be careful about this, right? There is no authentic dua for sahur. Okay. Now, another mistake that people make is that in my culture, for example, right, you have this thing called imsak. That means you stop about 10 minutes before Fajr, right? Now, this is not in any sunnah. You can eat all the time, all the way until Adhan starts. Adhan starts, you must completely finish. So you need to time yourself. Don't 1 minute before Adhan, you still have all this plate of cornflakes to finish, right? You need to time yourself. You know you only got 1 minute, just eat a little bit and drink more water, inshallah. You won't die if you won't eat the whole day, inshallah, okay? Now, another mistake is that people are not fasting if they miss sahur, right? Again, always remember, make it in your mind that if you don't eat even if you drink for a few hours, even for 15 hours, inshallah, you won't die, right? A lot of rewards for fasting. And remember, that's why I said, before you sleep, perhaps you just drink water in case you cannot wake up, right? Now, the next mistake is that people are saying intention of the fasting loud in Indonesia, Malaysia. Before you fast, you say this loud intention, right? Intention of fasting, it need not be in the forms of words. If I set up my alarm clock, right, to wake up for sahur, that is also an intention, right? If I drink water before I sleep, that is an intention, right? So it need not be in the form of words. Okay, do remember this. So you did not say, I'm intend to fast tomorrow for the sake of Allah. No, right? Now, intention for Ramadan is quite important. I'm going to discuss it again, inshallah, when we talk about fasting. Intention for Ramadan, right? For the fasting, it can be done on the day or the night before the first of Ramadan. You intend, okay, I'm going to fast for the whole of Ramadan. That means intention is done, right? Or you intend it before the Fajr time, but it must be done. Okay, this is very important. If you don't have any intention, for example, so tired after iftar, I sleep all the way until Fajr, then hate to say this, you have not made the intention. Okay, so this is very important. Yeah, for obligatory fast, the intention must be done before Fajr. For voluntary fast, intention can be done even later until perhaps before Zuhur. If I have not eaten for Zuhur and then there's no food in the house or I want to fast, I can do it for voluntary fast. But for obligatory fast, I need to make this intention before the Fajr time comes. Right? So are you saying that we should drink water before we sleep so that we go to the toilet in time? Yeah, sometimes when you drink a lot of water, as you know, right, you want to go to the toilet all the time, right? So you force yourself to wake up sometimes. Okay. Everybody is different, has different sleeping pattern, of course, right? So you need to know your pattern. Okay. Now the next one, there are people are fasting, but you're not praying. Some people, right? They think that now some scholars said if you don't pray, your fasting may not be accepted. Okay. So do remember this, right? You need to do it in accordance to the importance of the pillars of Islam, Shahada, come first, and Salah, and all this, right? So some people are not even praying. Subhanallah, how can you do this, right? Because the purpose of fasting is to achieve taqwa, isn't it true? That means you have not praying, you haven't achieved the purpose of fasting, which is taqwa, right? So do be careful about this. Okay. Now, the next one, people are not fasting because exam is tomorrow. I do not want my son to fast. SubhanAllah, this is completely not allowed. Always remember the one who will allow your son or you yourself, whom having exam to pass exam is from Allah. Right? Don't worry, everything is taken care of him. Trust him, right? He will allow you to be able to take your exam even though you're fasting. Okay. Now the next common mistake will be intention. Some people have the intention, oh, Ramadan's coming. Now it's time for me to lose weight. Now, what is the result of this intention? Anybody? If you have this intention to lose weight in Ramadan, it may affect your reward of Ramadan. Isn't it true? Right? So do be careful in this, right? You want to fast for the sake of Allah. What is the hadith? Innamal a'malu binniyati wa innamal likulli imri'in ma nawa. Right? Actions are judged by intention, and you will be judged according to only what you have intended, or you get rewarded only according to what you have intended. Right? So the hadith was about, as you know, in Hijrah, right? The people, as you know, when people do Hijrah in time of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they lost everything. They lost the wealth, they lost the families. For the sake of Allah, most of them came from Mecca to Medina with nothing, right? And the reward of this Hijrah, right, would be forgiveness of all the sins, right? One person did the same thing, going from Mecca to Medina, but he was doing that only to marry somebody. He didn't lose anything. Now, so the reward of this person who intend to get married is only the reward of marriage. He wouldn't get the reward of forgiveness of sins. Same thing as in Ramadan, right? If you are intending the first thing you already have in your mind, oh, Ramadan is coming, so excited, I can lose my weight. Subhanallah. That is not, that you should get rid of this, right? Intention can be changed. Don't worry, it's a human being that we want to lose weight, you and I, right? But always change your intention, right? Okay, I'm doing this for the sake of Allah. I'm doing this because I want to get taqwa. I want to face Ramadan, inshallah, and fast because I want to get Allah's forgiveness, inshallah, right? And all this, right? So if as a result of fasting, right, you lose weight, then it's a bonus, isn't it true? Inshallah, right? But do change your intention, right? If you have the intention that Ramadan comes, you want to lose weight, don't have this intention, right? Change it, right? And make sure it is for the sake of Allah. Okay, it's very important. Now, the next, what do you call it? Common mistake is about Taraweeh prayer, right? People are so obsessed with Taraweeh prayer, right? So much so that, hate to say this, right? Not all, of course. Some people are using this as a social media tool, isn't it true? Take pictures, and all this, right? And then when the mosque prayed 20 raka'ah, you finish 8, you say salam, then join your friends outside and go for coffees for 2-3 hours, and all this happened. I mean, we saw it in East London mosques. People are doing this, right? So it's a means of, it's a social event. Taraweeh is not a social event, for goodness sake, right? It is a practice of our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. First, he did this in the first 3 nights, remember, and he stopped because he did not want it to be obligatory to you and I. That Umar ibn Khattab anhu, he was the one who picked it up again and asked us or ordered us to do the Taraweeh again, right? Or the Qiyam al-Layl again, right? So this is important, right? It is a sunnah, right? There is hadith, if you do the fasting and Taraweeh, right, you get the forgiveness of sins, right? But it is just a sunnah, right? It is important, inshallah, for us to perform this throughout, especially the last 10 nights of Ramadan, right? But it is a sunnah. So those of you who are not used to it, the new Muslims, the reverse, or if you just start to practice Islam, do not worry if you do not do the Taraweeh prayer right in the beginning. As I said last week, Ramadan is a marathon, so you need to plan it properly. If you're tired, rest, right? Last 10 nights of Ramadan, then no excuse. You need to go all out, inshallah, right? In order to get this reward of Laylatul Qadr, which is better than 1,000 months, inshallah. Okay? Now, the next common mistake is people are fighting 8 raka'ah or 20 raka'ah. You shouldn't fight over it, right? Because Ramadan, right? Both of them are equally accepted. So no need to fight over it. Okay, I'm moving fast because of the time, right? The next one is people are praying Taraweeh only on the 27th night. Never go to the prayer, never pray at all sometimes, or never pray Taraweeh prayer, but 27th night, you must go to the mosque, right? Subhanallah, right? There is a hadith, small hadith, of course, right? But Muhammad said about Laylatul Qadr, it happens in the last 10 nights of Ramadan. Last 10 nights. You need to try to search for it every night, inshallah. Not just 27th night. You know that those of us who will go to the mosque, right? Every 27th night, every year, the mosque is full. East London Mosque, 10,000 people, full. They lock the mosque, nobody can enter, right? So something in which we need to change, right? Important to focus on last 10 nights of Ramadan, of course, right? But every night, inshallah. Not even only on odd night. People think that, oh, odd night is a hadith of Laylatul Qadr, therefore I need to pray. Tomorrow, even night, I rest. No such thing, right? Because perhaps we may start Ramadan on the wrong night or wrong day. Isn't it true? Right? So we need to focus on every night on the last 10 nights of Ramadan, inshallah. The next one, wasting the last part of Ramadan preparing for Eid. This is in my culture, in Singapore, in Malaysia, and all this, right? Busy, cleaning the house, painting the house, the carpets change, right? Curtains every year change the sofa set, everything change, right? Subhanallah, right? Something in which we need to try and change ourselves, right? Because Ramadan, we need to focus in last 10 nights worshiping Allah, right? This is not just about Eid, as we talked just now in the Quran, in maybe perhaps Surah number 17 just now, about do not waste. Innal mubadhirina kanu ikhwana shayatin. Yeah, the one who is a spendthrift, yeah, it is a brother of shayatin, right? So we have to be careful in this. Okay, now the last part, inshallah, for today's talk is the effect of Ramadan, right? After Ramadan, the post-Ramadan. So we talk about pre-Ramadan now, preparation for Ramadan, during Ramadan, and post-Ramadan, right? So what is the mistake of people in after Ramadan? As you know, and I know, right? People think that that's it, Ramadan finish, khalas, game over, I'm back to my old self. Subhanallah, right? Taqwa is not just for Ramadan, isn't it true? Inshallah, taqwa is for life, and inshallah, it will help us to enter Jannah, right? So something in which you and I, we need to observe, yeah, what do we do after Ramadan, right? In Arabic, right, the word is, okay, steadfastness. What is Arabic word? Steadfastness of the deen, right? What is it in Arabic? Steadfastness. Anybody? Istiqamah, right? Istiqamah means with the ability to continue to do as many deeds as possible. Istiqamah. And this is very important. Inna ladina qalu rabbuna Allahu thumma istaqamu tatanazzalu alaihimul malaikatu alla takhafu wa la tahzanu wa abshiru bil jannati allati kuntum tu'adun. Which surah is this? That if you stand firm on your deen, the angels will come, right, at the point of your death. Where did Allah say this? Anybody? Now, this is the most difficult part, isn't it true? Right? To pray for, even to pray, inshallah, for Ramadan is quite straightforward, but to do it, right, until death, that's a bit tricky, isn't it true? Right? Istiqamah, to be steadfast, is a bit difficult because many factors, right? Which surah? So turn to surah, not Ibrahim, turn to surah number 41, right? In verse number 30. Right? 41 in verse number 30, right? إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون نحن أولياؤكم في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة ولكم فيها ما تشتهي أنفسكم ولكم فيها ما تدعون نزلا من غفور رحيم. 30, 31, 32 in verse number Surah number 41, verse number 30, 31, 32. Verily those who say our Lord is Allah and istiqamah, they stand firm, they are steadfast. On them the angels will descend, saying, fear not nor grieve, but receive the glad tidings of paradise, which you have been promised. Subhanallah. Right? The angels will come, inshallah, to you and I, if you are steadfast on the deen. And the angels will say, don't fear, right? Do not be sad, but receive glad tidings of paradise. And they even said in the next verse, we have been your friends in the life of this world, and are so in the hereafter. Therein you shall have all that your inner self desire, and therein you shall have all which you ask for, and entertainment from Allah, the often forgiving, the most merciful. Yes, subhanallah, this is what Allah has promised us, right? So, brothers and sisters in Islam, right? Again, this is a common mistake, right? People Ramadan finished. It's hate to say this in Barzot in Malaysia and all this, right? In Singapore, was celebrated in 1 month. There's 1 month of celebration, right? Open house for 1 month, extravagance, and all this, right? They completely forget about, not all, of course, right? Many completely forget about what they did in the Ramadan. So something in which the common mistake people made is that that's it, right? They think that Ramadan is over, also their deeds are so good, their deeds will go down and all this, right? Istiqamah is very important that you and I, we must work on to in order for all of us to be able to worship Allah. Remember, Surah number 15, verse number 99, until the certainty, which is death that comes. Okay? Now, so this is something in which, alhamdulillah, we have covered in general, yeah. I'm sure there are many other things, yeah, about the common mistakes or the major mistakes with which people have made. People will make, sadly, in this month of Ramadan, and we need to look into it, inshallah, to make sure that we don't fall into this trap, yeah, of the mistakes that may reduce our rewards, or may even nullify our fasting, or may even nullify our Ramadan and all this, right? Something in which we only, inshallah, right? This Ramadan, as I said before, it will be the best Ramadan, inshallah, right? Allah is always the best of plan, and trust Allah that even in these very testing times of this coronavirus, there's a lot of goodness that comes out of it, yeah. That you and I, we just need to be positive, right? Be optimistic, right? That's it, right? This is something in which we take this opportunity, right, to gain all the rewards with our patience, right? That we have to be optimistic. We trust Allah that this Ramadan, inshallah, we try not to make any mistakes. Yeah, we make it our best. Gather family members together, and inshallah, this Ramadan we will have less extravagance, right, in our iftar. This Ramadan, inshallah, we are memorizing more surah, memorizing more dua for our Taraweeh parade within our families, inshallah. This Ramadan, inshallah, we will be uniting families together. And after Ramadan, right, or even before that, if the mosque were to be open, alhamdulillah, inshallah, is something in which I would be the first one to do sujud syukur, right, in the mosque when I were to enter the mosque. That we miss this the mosque so much. That's something in which it is a big calamity, of course, that the brothers are not able to enter the mosque, but something in which we have to, inshallah, we will be more grateful to Allah, right? The things we take for granted, like even the simple mosque, right? That we can enter the mosque before this very easily. Now we are prevented from going to the mosque, right? What is our reaction to all this? something in which we need to be more grateful to Allah, inshallah, for the future. Ya, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow all of us to meet the month of Ramadan. Allahumma balighna Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from all the calamities. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us, right, to face the month of Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our iman and taqwa. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of us good health, right? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unite ourselves and families in iman and taqwa. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us with the ability, to be more grateful to Him, that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant all of us Jannatul Firdaus. Subhanallah wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Right, if you have any questions, inshallah, do email me or do post it, anything to me. How do you find today's talk through YouTube? I think I don't know, it should be better, is it? Inshallah, right? If you have anything that you want to comment, do comment, right? And we try our best to help you, inshallah. Tomorrow we'll meet the sisters, inshallah, at 1:45 on Skype. The brothers will meet at about 4 o'clock on Skype, inshallah, for our Quran recitation, inshallah. Right? With that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.